Hey guys, welcome back to another Persona 5 discussion video, and today we're going to be going over the new gameplay elements that we saw in the latest videos released from Atlus. Unlike past videos, this time we got to see a heavy emphasis on how gameplay will function in P5, from both PV4 and the latest staff interview. While my previous trailer analysis of PV4 mainly focused on the new characters and some brief speculation, this video will mainly focus on the RPG game mechanics that I think will be present in the 5th installment. So let's get into it. So right off the bat, we have this scene from the staff interview, where we see the thieves are inside the art museum and there's a shadow patrolling this corridor. Then the Phantom dashes behind it, steals his heart mask thing, and initiates a battle with some Tengu. Now, personally, I think this is how a majority of the battles in P5 will play out. I feel Persona 5 will be the natural evolution of the role-playing game. Now, as moronic as that statement sounds, hear me out. So, in Persona 1 and 2, you could not see your opponent. You simply got into a battle eventually after a predetermined amount of steps were taken, because that was all that was possible at the time. In the mid-2000s, hardware improved, so in 3 and 4, we got to see the system of being able to avoid encounters altogether. In Persona 3, if you were way stronger than your opponent, you could see the shadow and it would be frightened of you and you could just walk around it. It was not an issue at all. And in Persona 4, the higher level you get, the more puny the shadows would become, and if you were lower level than them, they would become massive and very difficult to dodge. Now, I think Atlus is trying to yet again innovate on this concept and develop a system where battles can be completely avoided if the player is skillful enough. Now, I always make the mistake of making comparisons to other video games that people may have not played in these analysis videos, but whatever, I'm gonna do it again because I'm stupid, I guess. So here's just an example of what I'm talking about. In the Dark Souls franchise, if you're smart and experienced in the game, grinding is fundamentally not necessary, as you'll progress naturally through the game and you'll have all the materials you will need to complete it. I feel this is the direction a lot of modern role-playing games are going to be taking to make RPGs themselves more accessible. How I think Persona 5 will handle this is with its soft stealth gameplay. Now I say soft stealth because, let's be honest, a lot of the people that play role-playing games may not have the twitch reflexes or the patience to play Persona Cross Metal Gear Solid. And Atlus knows this. They don't want to alienate longtime fans with impossible to complete sneaking missions. No, they're definitely not gonna do that. Instead, let's take this corridor situation for example. If the player understood the pathing of the enemy well enough, perhaps the group could make it to the door and skip the encounter altogether if they so desired. Perhaps just my wishful thinking, as honestly I love games in which you can completely avoid encounters if you so desire. Perhaps they're just way too weak and you don't want to waste the time to just get 2 EXP, or the complete opposite, an enemy where it's just overwhelmingly difficult to take down. You can do it, but it'd be nicer if you could just run around it. I think Atlus is really smart, and they're going to try and accomplish something similar that they tried to do in Persona 3 and 4 with this battle system. Is it stealth related? I'm not too sure personally. We've seen some more of the stealth gameplay in this trailer, and I don't think they're going with a whole hardcore stealth sneaking mechanics. It's really just soft stealth, if that makes any sense. Now, I'm not exactly sure if that's what the chants may be alluding to when you initiate a battle, because honestly, it's such a vague word, and sometimes they just use English words because they sound cool, so it could literally mean anything. We have no idea. But if I had to develop a hypothesis, I would say that, just like in Persona 3, if you hit the shadow before they get to you, naturally you will obtain some reward, and vice versa if you get initiated on. Maybe there is a chance to automatically destroy a shadow in the group, but it appears here that despite the fact that chance was initiated, all the Tengus seem completely unaffected. Which is why I'm kind of leading towards the thing. It's just they wanted a cool English word to initiate the battle. But honestly, I could go on and on about how to improve SMT combat, but we still have a lot of things to get to in this trailer. So let's move on to the next scene. And no! God! God dang it. So my worst fear for Persona 5 has actually come true, sadly. It appears that the artwork for the characters when speaking will have rough lip syncing during non-cutscene conversations. Now, Persona 4 Arena and Ultimax did this, and I really did not like it at all. Honestly, I would have preferred no mouth movement, but I guess this is the direction they want to go in. Maybe I'm over-exaggerating, but I do not like it, if I'm being completely honest. It's not even like a dubbing issue, as I can overlook like bad dubbing. It's not a problem for me with Japanese games. Look at Xenoblade Chronicles. You get over that really fast. But, god dang, Persona does not need that at all. The blinking that characters would do, that was like fine. It was not intrusive at all. But the lip flapping Ryuji shows here is just... it looks bad, man. I don't know. Then again, Caroline's speaking animation during the pre-stream did not look so terrible, so maybe they can make it work. I don't know. Realistically, it's not the end of the world. I just wish it wasn't there, but this scene itself is nice to see, actually. Aside from that. As it gives us an idea of how group conversations with our cast will function. Still no social links though, and the quote from Katsura Hishino regarding the gameplay, it's mainly about Phantom Thief scenes and adventure, is troublesome to say the least. And the fact that we have had 4 trailers now and have not seen a single rank up screen at all, honestly worries me a lot, and I'm not gonna lie. A3 is right around the corner though. We might see some social link stuff there. Personally, I could easily enjoy a game without social links if I'm being totally honest, because I love almost every game Atlus makes, and I can appreciate them just not doing more of the same. But at the same time, there were a lot of fans who honestly do not care about the gameplay of the Persona games. They just want a cool story with their favorite girl in it and all that crud. And naturally, that fraction of the fan base is probably gonna get mad if social links aren't coming back. Well, we aren't discussing the waifu wars in this video, no. This is supposed to be about gameplay, so let's get to that, I guess. In this next battle segment, we see Anne's spell selection while using her persona. Now, something I notice here, which I really like, is that when deciding whether or not you want to use persona skills, the persona is already summoned. Which, wow, is going to speed up battles so much. Like, one thing I really loved and noticed when I first started playing Persona 3 so many years ago was how instantaneous the attacks felt. Sure, there are some attacks with like really long, crazy animations, but I mean, that's gonna be like in every role-playing game, you know? But I'm saying just for like normal attacking and your basic magic, it gave me a sense I actually performed that action. It's kind of a difficult thing to describe, I admit, but I feel that speed has been something RPGs have lacked for many years now. Naturally, the turn-based variety lets you plan out moves for as long as you need to, because fights usually have depth to them, but that doesn't mean the UI can't help speed things along. Back to the menus though. When Anne summons Karamin, we get a look at her skills. Agi, Maragi, some healing bullcrap, and what looks like a status, skill, and then a buff. Now, I can't read moon runes, I don't freaking know what they are, no one translated them, so if someone could do that in the comments, that'd be great. But when she goes to attack the demons, and even though she gets the weakness exploited, it doesn't trigger her once more, but instead activates a baton pass. This is a very new mechanic that we don't know a lot about. It isn't even clear if exploiting the enemy's weakness is what's triggering this event or not. It might not even be tied to weaknesses at all, we don't know. But we do know that we get to choose who gets to act next, and that they receive a damage and healing boost. Does this mean that the once more mechanic has been removed? Honestly, I don't know, but I hope so. Personally, I always favored the recent mainline games of Shin Megami Tensei and their press turn system, and it appears that this might be somewhat similar. Kinda. One of the things I really just flat out do not like about Persona 4 is how absolutely overpowered the wild card is in that game. Basically, your main character is unstoppable. If you have the SP, there is nothing stopping you from extending your turn until every enemy is knocked down, assuming you have decently fused personas. This seems like a good way to, first off, make team composition play a bigger role in the gameplay, as you need to make sure you can cover your allies' weaknesses, and secondly, open up a lot of new strategic possibilities, which, let's be honest, Persona kinda needs, as usually your main character just completely destroys everything. Or at least that's how I play. Now, I just want to make it clear though that it appears the baton pass will not replace turn order at all, and it's just like the once more mechanic. As in the next scene, Ryuji beats the crap out of the Sagathian, and then the page turns comic book style and it has sort of a pink hue at the top of it, and then Anne acts. I think for the most part, speed will matter who goes first in battles, as it usually does. And the baton pass will only slightly change this order. After that though, we get a cool shot of what platforming elements will look like, not too much to dissect there, and yet again a scene of how battles will play out. But this next segment has first off some new 3D demon models in the form of Silky, which is, well, really cool for me because I love those demons, and also they got 2 different battle poses going on. Nice touch, Atlus. I dig that. I dig that a lot. Also, now if an enemy is weak to a skill, the menu will express that to the player without you having to select it. Although, it's odd how this didn't occur with Karamine, as obviously Jack Frost is weak to ice and so are the new, so I'm not really too sure what that was about. And lastly, we get to see Ryuji rip off his mask with this crit animation. You can just barely see the red of his face here as his hand is sort of obscuring most of the animation. But it seems like for Persona 5, all they need to do is touch their mask or something similar to that to use their persona, but when they need a crit, they rip it off to, you know, be a little more fierce, which is pretty cool because really these summoning animations did take a very long time in pretty much every game ever in the series. Looking at you, Persona 1, God, it took forever. But next up, we get a battle in the casino, and this time our main character is taking his turn. We get a look at what the Persona menu looks like when he is using it. At the top of the screen here, we can see that from this menu, we can shift our personas around. Which, wow, that was a feature I didn't even know that I wanted. Think about it. Before, you had to go to the Persona menu, select what you wanted, watch an animation, scroll back up to the skill menu, then decide which attack you wanted to use. This makes so much sense and shows that Atlus spent a lot of hours just on this UI, and personally, God, I can't wait to just mess around with it. It's gonna be so much fun. On top of that, we also get to see our main character pointing his pistol at a demon in this picture. Now, we also need to keep in mind his gun is not a real gun, so where are we getting these bullets exactly? I'm not too sure, but I like the idea of ranged weapons having a bigger part in SMT. I've been a really big fan of them for a while now, and I hope that this time around they're a little bit more balanced than they were in the original Persona Revelations. Good lord, they were too strong. And following that, we get into a battle with, oddly enough, non-demons. These robotic enemies might be a sort of mid-boss or something, but they are definitely not SMT demons, and I hope we get some more generic enemies to sort of break up the in-between of the shadow battles. Aside from that though, the interview itself was incredibly short. Mainly, Katsura Hishino was just saying, "Thank you to all the fans for the support. We are sorry it took so long, but it's currently in the final stages of development, and be sure to look out for more information shortly." And that they are very happy to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Persona this year with Persona 5. Incredibly brief, but at least now we get to see what combat will be like and how they are improving it. But before we go, there is something I really need to clear up for those who saw my previous video on the Fourth Promotional video, and that were the codenames for each of the characters in our story. Now that this 20th anniversary image has been shown off online, we have a better idea on who is who. Morgana turned out to be Mona, which I find interesting for a variety of reasons. Futaba is Navi, makes perfect sense. The Beautiful Thief is going by Noir, which maybe she's into movies or something. Motorcycle Chick has a Q, probably Queen, makes sense. Which means Anne has to be Panther, which I honestly did not see at all, and I feel really dumb about that, but I always thought her mask and Carmen's mask were like mice, and they had nothing to do with the cat, but I guess they're cats, okay. And lastly, the mysterious man, who we still do not have a name for, seems to go by Crow. Also, it appears that during the flying scene, it appears that they are in fact flying to Hawaii, which, well, would explain the fan service scene, which actually, that was not Futaba, it's actually Anne. Still weird though. I guess Operation Bay Planet 3.0 is going to Hawaii. Cool. But yeah, guys, that is pretty much going to do it for this video. I know, yet again, I'm kind of putting in my own interjections into a lot of this, but at the same time, until we get concrete information on how gameplay will function, specific details on what Persona 5 will be like. This is really the best I can do as far as analysis and speculation. Now, that may change very soon because, like I said in the previous video, the Famitsu article that is coming up soon will be probably just like the last one, which we got a lot of new information on, so look forward to that. I will be making a video covering that, unless it's the most boring thing ever. Then again, I'll probably make one anyways. Anywho, thank you all so much for watching this video. Hopefully I showed you a couple of minor details you may have not caught on to when you first saw the interview or the trailer, but yeah. Persona 5 is looking amazing. It's crazy. They're changing things and making new stuff I didn't even know I wanted. And I've played probably like collectively 3,000 hours of Persona, but anywho, I'm pumped. I hope you're pumped. Thank you all so much for watching though, and see you in the next video. Bye.